With the Citi Double Cash Card, you get 1% cash back when you buy and 1% as you pay. That's like the joy of getting 2 W's on the road or catching the home run ball without spilling your drink. Double boom. Double the love with the Citi Double Cash Card. Apply now at Citi.com/doublecash.
This is the best of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
I don't know if you ever, Stugotz, walk into your house or walk in anywhere and someone just hands you something delightful to pick up your mood or your spirit. As far as I understand, that's what the gift bag industry is. It's just like something there so that when you immediately get there, you're made happier.
Right. I get the opposite. I walk in and my wife's there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Ryan, to start the national show, just gave me a gift bag, a piece of candy. He greeted me with, I have that UCF sound. Now, if you're not familiar with UCF, UCF is the University of Central Florida, the real national champions. Used to be the Golden Knights. Now they are not the Knights. If they win Auburn, I will declare them the national champions in my personal record book.
Nice.
One of the things I've told you about that team is that it is overwhelming offensively, that they have the fastest running back, basically, that I've seen in the sport this year, that their quarterback I thought of as pro-ready, but he's small, but he feels like a pro quarterback, even though he's small. If not that, he's an excellent college quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a defensive player with one hand, and you guys will not respect him. And it makes me mad. So Mike said, I have that UCF sound. And so I am told that Adrian Killens, Jr., I've been watching him a lot this year.
Mm-hmm.
Great name.
Yeah, it is.
It's the fastest dude I've seen in the sport. Like, I love watching him. I told you it's either him or the Clemson running back, and I think it's him.
Etienne?
Yeah. But at the end, like, Clemson's so good they don't even use him.
They barely use him. You're right. They do. They barely use him.
That's because I'm not entirely sure if the dude ahead of Etienne on the depth chart isn't faster.
I don't know. Right. I don't know who. I don't know. Right. Etienne might be the fastest player in the country. He also might not be the fastest player in his own huddle. I don't know. So Adrian Killens, though, and I've loved watching this team all year, and I'm terrified of Auburn because all my hopes and dreams go boom.
One game.
I'm going to then have to declare Auburn a 3-loss national champion. It's going to be very embarrassing.
It's the perfect opponent for you, though, for UCF, because it's a team that's beaten Georgia and beaten Alabama. If UCF can beat Auburn, I think you're justified.
Well, my man Killens had something to say. Let's hear what my man, because everybody's always talking about this speed that Alabama has and the speed of LSU. Let's hear what Adrian Killens has to say about all your speed, SEC.
SEC football, they don't have a lot of speed, honestly. So Auburn hasn't seen any speed like we have here. So I would say they're in for a rude awakening because UCF football, we're UCF fast and UCF fierce. So defense, we play 11 halves to the ball, fast and furious, and offense, we got a lot of guys who can go up and get the ball and make you miss and make big plays.
Mm-hmm. Preach, Killens.
You didn't mention the defense.
Well, that's the problem. A bit of an Achilles heel. Their best player has one hand, and he is great. Yeah. He is great. One hand.
Yep.
I blew it, man. I'm telling you that in my lifetime as a journalist, I've had very few bigger regrets than the fact that I did not vote Griffin Heisman Trophy winner for being a great defensive player on an undefeated team and playing with one hand. In fact, when I go to, after they beat Auburn, I go to Central Florida and we do a live show from Central Florida, UCF, to declare them the Le Batard Show with Stugotz national champions.
Right. You're going to present him with
sponsored by Dollar Shave Club.
No, you're going to present him with the Heisman Trophy?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm involved here? We'll call it the Liesman Trophy.
Well, okay. But why do we have to make this about you?
Well, because I like to make everything about me.
There is that.
You included me in this. I thought you were rogue on this.
No, our whole show's going to do like a thing there.
Right, but you can't call it the Heisman Trophy. You got to call it something else.
Why can't I call it the Heisman Trophy in my personal record book?
Okay, well, your personal record book, you didn't state that. So if you're telling me in your personal record book, that's fine, but you should have a trophy that accompanies it. That's all I'm saying. Actually, you have one. Don't you have Ricky Williams in your garage?
No, that was before.
Oh.
That requires some explaining. I'm happy to explain it. The trophy we're going to use is actually Mike Ryan's giant. Well, it's actually mine. It's still mine.
Wait a second.
Yes, the fantasy champion trophy that Mike Ryan has been trying to get out of his garage for a long time. If you're not familiar with this story, we have a fantasy league here. I don't care about it. Mike Ryan cares about it too much. He blew our entire budget on a giant trophy. He won it the first year. The second year, I didn't care about the trophy or the league. They auto-selected for me. I yelled all year, don't know who any of my players were, didn't make any substitutions, won the league, don't want the trophy. So now we have that trophy. That trophy's going to UCF as soon as they kick the holy hell out of that slow Auburn team.
Or it might be going to Auburn.
Or it might be going to Auburn more reluctantly. So, to the Ricky Williams story, Heisman in my garage.
Yes.
True story, totally true story. A lot of people don't believe it. A lot of people don't believe that my father has a Heisman vote. He does. It has nothing to do with the Heisman trophy being in his garage.
That's amazing.
My father has a Heisman vote.
It's just amazing. Yep. I'm so happy for it.
It was so funny. I walked in the other day, right before Christmas. Well, this is right now, right before Christmas, right before Thanksgiving. And I saw all the research. On his desk, and he was looking at all the players and stuff, and he was yelling at me, are there any Latino players? I don't know. Can you guys find out for me how many Heisman voters there are? I don't know off the top of my head, but I do love that my father is one of them. Anyway. So Ricky Williams goes on sabbatical, leaves football. Was in a tent in Australia.
870 media voters.
All right. So my father's one of 870.
But they have an allotment from each region. So only 145 voters are allowed from this region. That's a precious spot that your father is occupying.
Those are media, but I think O.J. Simpson still has a Heisman vote, doesn't he?
Anybody that, those are the media voters. If you've won a Heisman,
no, I know but that's what I'm saying. So you've got those voters, and then you've also got aren't there other branches other than media that votes on that, or is it just media?
I have to investigate, but I'm pretty sure O.J. Simpson has a vote and Reggie Bush does not.
Okay, that makes sense. What? So Ricky Williams leaves football, and he just left a lot of stuff behind. And one of the things that he left behind, there weren't many things that he needed. He was trying to clean everything, sort of shake his life free of all material things. He was on a spiritual path. And so there were a handful of things that needed to be protected. And so what would be safer than Poppy's garage to put a Heisman trophy for whenever it is that Ricky decides to return from his wanderings?
It'll be there.
It will be there. It was in Poppy's garage for several years. The Heisman trophy was. It was never posted on Instagram. My father, I don't know if my father knows it was there. It might have been put there under his nose.
If he knew it was there, fact, do you imagine?
Hold on. Let's call my father right now. Mike, can you call my father? I'd like to get my father on the line, and I'd like to go through some of this. In fact, can you just ask him? You just ask him. Like, Poppy, how did Ricky's Heisman trophy end up in your garage?
Okay.
So you ask him to see if he knows, because I don't think he knows. But I'm eager to hear what his explanation for this might be.
Is there a chance he has no idea that it was ever there?
Okay, well, let's find out. You know what? Let's tease this, and we'll find out. We're going to call my father. We'll call my father in the next segment. We'll call him live on air, and we'll do it next.
Dan Batard.
Let me go around the shipping container filled with frightened refugees. What do you imagine Pitbull smells like? The bidding starts with facts and info.
I think he smells like my dad's cologne.
Guillermo, what do you imagine Pitbull smells like?
A combination of sweat and like agua de violeta.
Oh, nice.
Stugotz.
Roy, what do you got there?
Dracar Noir.
Mike, what about you? What would be your guess on what Pitbull smells like?
Fireball.
Thank you.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Stugotz, I'm a little worried about my mental state. I've told you about this thyroid medication, and there have been a handful of instances where my memory has failed me, and my memory has been a very good governor for me for a long time. It's happened on the air. That never used to happen, so it's part of this show aging. So it might get even sloppier than it has been, because I meant to call the new Marlins owner last segment, and I got distracted by calling my dad over the Heisman Trophy. Mm-hmm. And I also meant to get to a story about Allison, because she is livid with LeVar Ball. Livid. She used the phrase livid, And that is a phrase a young person would never use. What is the over-under on livid? The age of someone who would describe themselves as livid. I'm angry, I'm enraged, bleep off, whatever. Livid. Okay, let's do it this way. Put this on the poll. Is livid a word you would ever use to describe your anger? So she says she's livid at LeVar Ball, and we'll get to that in a second. First, we're going to call my father.
All right. You want me to write any of this stuff down to remind you?
No, I got it written down now,
okay.
But I think I'm going to shock you with something here. And this will be shocking. In fact, this will be shocking. The reason that I'm willing to take what appears to be a side effect that would be non-negotiable under normal circumstances with my memory is because I am having physical changes in a way that soon, and nobody here is going to believe this, but soon I'm going to be able to actually do a split. This is what I'm saying.
Get outta
I know.
here.
Okay. I know. And that's fine. What I'm telling you.
Where can I get some?
It's going to take me a minute. I can't explain to you exactly what it is I'm doing, but I'm doing scientific stuff where I'm trying, there's been just physical pain in my body that I'm trying to eradicate. And if I showed you, I think right now, if I showed you guys even a stretch that you would be surprised, like of any kind.
What, you could touch your toes?
No, I could do far more than touch my toes.
Really?
Yes, I could.
Wow.
Yeah, I could put my palms on the floor. Yeah.
Get out of here.
No, you can't.
Yes.
No, you can't do that.
All right, we'll videotape it during the break. No, but what I'm telling you is that you're so.
I honestly,
I forgot what I was telling you because of the medication. But what I'm telling you is,
wait. So this medicine is going to allow you, in some strange way, to be able to do a split, and if you stop taking it, we might be stripped of that moment.
Wait a minute.
I mean, stay on this
I
stuff.
can't even visualize you. In this.
Okay, hold on a second. All right, now you're gonna need to call Al, my trainer. Now so we're going to call my dad.
Who we call
first? All right, we're calling my dad first.
Okay. Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we got to call Bruce Sherman. Remember, we need to call the Marlins owner and ask him why he's using Derek Jeter as a meat shield.
And then Al, the trainer?
And then Al, the trainer.
All right.
Okay. So we will begin with my father. No, I know these things are shocking to you.
I can't get past the visual.
They're shocking to me. You don't understand. But what I've been doing for about 3 hours a day for several months now is like a bunch of different. Oh, hold on a second.
Bunch of different is where you left off.
It's been very painful things.
Oh, you were drinking.
You're going to ask my father this question, right?
Okay.
Hello?
Bobby.
Jimmy.
Stugotz.
Who's this?
Oh, Stugotz.
Oh, it's Stugotz. How are you, my boy?
I'm doing good, Bobby. Hey, how'd Ricky Williams' Heisman Trophy ever get into your garage?
Oh, because he was moving out of New Orleans, and he had a I guess it was an apartment in New Orleans, and he needed a place where he could hide that. So he sent it down, and we pick it up in they send it to us, and we put it in the garage. That's all.
Right. And did you do anything? Like, how long was it in the garage for?
Oh, it was there for a number of years,
Right.
I used to keep it there, and I tell everybody I got a Heisman Trophy here. I have a Heisman Trophy. People didn't believe me, so what can I tell you?
Right. You told them it was yours, I hope, right?
Of course I did. I never said that was Ricky's. I said it's mine.
I'm proud of you, buddy.
This is one of the things that qualified me to get a Heisman vote.
This is not one of the things.
No, he won a Heisman Trophy.
No,
yes.
that's not. Yes, that explains how my father's gotten a vote.
I'm an expert, though. In addition that I'm an expert, I'm a college football expert.
All right, hold on a second. Did you ever touch the trophy? Like, was it just out?
Of course I did. I took it out of the box. I look at it. I put it back on. I took it out a couple of times. You know what I mean?
Bobby, I think you're
Why?
lying
What's
right
the matter?
now. I think you're lying. Bobby, this is what I think. Bobby, is Mom there?
It's about to crumble.
Your mother is here. You want to
Yes, let me talk to Mom. Yes, let me talk to Mom.
But she doesn't know everything I do, though.
No, Bobby, you're a liar. She knows that. She knows you're a liar. So put your wife on the phone.
Hold on for a second.
She doesn't know
He's a liar.
everything I do.
She knows everything.
Are you telling?
We also have a big picture, of the blue cat too. So a painting.
Oh, that's right. There's some expensive painting. What is that? How much was that painting worth that Ricky left with you?
I don't know, millions of dollars. Millions.
Did you sell it? Or?
When I first got it, I spent a week. I couldn't sleep properly.
Because it was in the house? Because you had something so expensive in the house? Mom, we're on the radio, Mom.
Are you saying she's going to know everything?
Yeah, she'll know the details.
Okay.
Mom, I think Dad was lying about, like, taking pictures with the Heisman Trophy and holding it and stuff. I don't think that Papi ever, like, touched the Heisman Trophy or even knew very much about it while it was in the garage. Can you tell us the truth?
He didn't know. We never even opened the box.
See, Papi's a liar. Papi's a liar. He's like, Stugotz, you're the son he never had.
He never knew. He never bring us down.
See, Dad was just telling stories.
Wait, but he never told anyone that he won the Heisman Trophy?
No. Mom, Dad never touched the trophy, never did anything with it. It stayed in a box for years in the garage.
Zero, never, no.
Okay, thank you for being the honest person in our family, Mother.
Thank you.
All right, goodbye.
But his story was so much better, I mean.
Your father's a liar.
Yeah, but,
what a terrible discovery to make on the radio.
We're in the entertainment business, man. Like, if you don't have a good story, you have to make up a good story. I mean.
Al, my trainer, next.
Demand once more money.
No, we're going to go videotape something right now.
You're supposed to call Bruce first, and then Al, the trainer.
No, we're going to call Al, my trainer first. Then we got to call Bruce Sherman.
All right.
Disney, you need to start worrying about me. The medication is a problem.
We need to actually talk to Jeff Van Gundy next.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we got Jeff. So, wait, what are we videotaping during the break? Are you going to do a split?
I mean, I'm going. No, I'm not doing a split. I can't do a split yet.
I want to see palms on the floor.
All right. Let's see. All right. We're going to do this. We're going to go test it. Can I get a little limber? I've been sitting in a chair for a while. Am I allowed? How about allow me 15 minutes to stretch?
Allow
me 15 minutes to stretch.
15 minutes?
Just 15 minutes.
Sure. Yeah.
No, next break.
Yeah,
I'm saying
But the break's
I'm not
short
going
of
to be able to
15
stretch during the next segment. I'm saying give me a break to do it.
Okay. I'll give you all day.
We have a commercial, though.
All right. Metro PCS. Tell them, Stugotz. I got to go stretch. They'll help you stretch your dollar. Metro PCS.
It was like miracle medication. You got to go stretch for 15 minutes. Dr. Quack.
Don Le Batard.
Jeff Van Gundy looked like the guy at the gym who pees out of the bottom of his shorts.
Stugotz.
Is that a wrong thing?
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. The Dan Le Batard Show is brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Jeff Van Gundy going to join us in just a second on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. So is Al.
He's in a hurry. Hold on a second. Al's in a hurry. Before you read the sports flash, Al's in a hurry. Al, my trainer, what do you guys want to ask him? What are the questions you want to ask Al, my trainer? Let's, Al, how long, they don't believe anything of what's going on with my body. And so how long will it be before I'm able to do a split? How long? How many months?
It's right around the corner for you, Dan.
Well, explain right around the corner. What does that mean?
That kind of feels like trainer lingo.
Right around the corner. When, Al?
You can't put these things on a timetable. Progress comes when progress comes.
Right. But you're the trainer. Like, how far away do you really think?
Al, you sound like a yes man. They want to know. I'm trying to explain to them. They just don't believe that I could touch my toes.
No, you're well within. That's all in your wheelhouse.
Right.
The touching of the toes. He can touch his toes.
Yeah,
a real Russell Wilson of trainers.
Can he put his palms on the floor?
Al, we're on the radio and you're being cliche after cliche. Tell the people something they wouldn't believe about my body.
I think he's no longer your trainer. Yeah, you lost Al. He doesn't want to be on the radio, man. He just wants to train you.
Did you guys not tell him we were going on the radio? Oh, okay.
I think he's telling you in an effort to keep, keep
the money flowing,
to keep the checks flowing. Yeah, to keep the checks coming in. Like, hey, Dan, you're 2 days away from a split.
He sounded scary.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the pain I have endured over the last couple of months to get here has been. There could have been like an arrest or police called screams in Le Batard's apartment. Like an arrest from screaming horror movie screams because this dude is running a bowling pin over my bones.
Sports Center is brought to you by Hellsberg Diamonds. Purchase $999 or more at Hellsberg Diamonds and get an Xbox One S with 3 months of both Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Live Gold. Leave it to Hellsberg Diamonds to think outside the box. Hurry in while supplies last. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
We'll get to calling Bruce Sherman in a second. We will get to why Allison Turner is livid at LeVar Ball in a second. Mike Ryan meant to start this segment here with Queen of Hearts. He failed because Jeff Van Gundy kind of looks like the Queen of Hearts. We will get to our Queen of Hearts analysis in a second, but apparently my medication is also affecting Mike Ryan's memory because he meant to come in with Queen of Hearts. Let's do it.
Is this for Al? Or?
Jeff, how are you, sir?
Listen, if I was your trainer, I would not come on the air nationally and brag about that.
Well, he didn't. He hung up at the end. He hung up at the end scared and realized apparently that he was on the air and I just ruined his business. Because
well, he really I don't know if he's going to go down as the all-time worst guest, but as far as information gathered and gleaned, there was none.
Right.
None.
Right.
All right, look, don't make me go after your brother. All right? You better back off with the fat jokes, Van Gundy. All right, because I will bury your brother. I can't come after you. But I will publicly...
Well, you actually could, but you choose not to.
I will publicly shame your brother before all, and there'll be a giant feud between all of us. Let me ask you this. Does Adrian Wojnarowski look like your dentist who asked you about your summer while both of his gloved hands are in your mouth?
I don't think he does, but there's nothing more irritating than the dental hygienist who's trying to hold a conversation with you as she's raking your teeth with that metal object.
By the way, I should have mentioned, it's Philadelphia All Access today on ESPN, and you can hear Jeff on tonight's broadcast. 76ers Thunders game. It's at 7 on ESPN. Does Hubie Brown look like the butler of a haunted mansion?
You're never getting me to say anything.
Oh, you
about
stink
Hubie
at this
Brown.
game, and I'm done playing it with you. You stink at this game, and you keep ruining it because I bring you basketball people you respect, and you can't laugh at them. How can you tell me on the air that Hubie Brown does not look like the butler of a haunted mansion? Maybe Chris Kaman looks more like one. Maybe Adam Silver looks more like one. But Hubie Brown absolutely looks like that, Jeff, and I will not have another answer from you.
Jeff, you thought Al was bad.
No. When you're talking about Hubie Brown, you're talking about NBA royalty.
No, I'm talking about what he looks like.
No, I'm going to say to you, he looks like a coach. That's what he looks like.
All right, well, we are taking this game away from you. You are no longer allowed to play it with us because you are giving too much respect to these people, and you're not allowing me that Mike D'Antoni looks like the Delta pilot wishing me a great stay as I exit the plane. Because you know he does. Because you know he does.
That's actually good. No, that's good. That's good. That's a Delta pilot.
Well, clearly you don't. Clearly you don't respect D'Antoni the way you do Hubie Brown. That's the problem.
No, I just respect pilots. I love the friendly pilots. But by the way, and they always do that after the 4-hour delay too. Have a great day. I would have had a great day, except that I am now late.
The day's already over, right?
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about the Rockets and what they're doing, because they can't have better players than the Golden State Warriors, but can they play that style of math basketball where threes are worth more than two better than Golden State can play it?
Well, they have two all-time elite playmakers. I think they're much better equipped defensively this year to match up with the more versatile teams like the Warriors. I still think the Warriors are the prohibitive favorite, but when you're 12-1 on the road and you haven't lost with both Paul and Harden, I mean, you're in good shape. I think they're an outstanding team. I just think they're going up against one of the all-time teams when it comes to the ability to assemble all-time great players.
How about the Thunder? What do you make of what's happening there? Is that can we already just dismiss that as a failed experiment?
Well, they're good defensively. Offensively, they're not a good team. Westbrook shooting 38%, Carmelo Anthony 40%, Paul George 41%. That's just not good enough offensively. And then they don't have good depth because they made two for one trades, both for with Paul George and with Carmelo Anthony. So they're not the offensive rebounding team they were. They don't have the same depth. Their bench is short, and their stars are not playing as efficient basketball as you would need them to play to win consistently. Defensively, though, they're very good.
Jeff, who's the guy? There's a tremendous amount of young talent in the NBA. Two guys on one team, Simmons and Embiid. Who's the guy that you are most excited? The young guy whose game you love the most?
I've been telling people, Jeff, that if Embiid stays healthy, that dude is going to be like a better version of Shaq.
But Simmons seems like he's the next LeBron. He really does.
No, but Embiid is, if he stays healthy, he's going to be one of the best ever. Well, what do you think, Jeff?
Well, I'm loath to. You just talked about two of the top 10 players of all time that you compared two guys who have played a total of probably 80 games to. So I'm loath to compare Embiid to someone of the greatness of O'Neal or Simmons to the greatness of James. But I think they're outstanding players. Obviously, the health issue with Embiid is critical. But I love his ability to get to the free throw line. He's a more willing passer now. He made some beautiful passes on Tuesday night against Minnesota to seal the game. He made a three, so he has that offensive versatility. I like he has a nasty competitive streak to him. And then Ben Simmons, even though his shooting and his free throw shooting are not great, the size, the vision, the rebounding is extraordinary. And I'll be interested to see Simmons over time with his shooting. He plays so much like a right-handed player. He finishes better with his right hand. I'm wondering if he feels as comfortable with his left-hand shooting as he may with his right over time. So it'll be interesting to me.
It's Philadelphia All Access today on ESPN. You can hear Jeff tonight. 76ers Thunder, 7 o'clock on ESPN. Before we let you go, give me something outside of sports that has you fired up these days. Something that you noticed, a societal point, whatever you got. Jeff Van Gundy unplugged, 1 minute of good content as opposed to your droning talk about how good Ben is going to his left hand.
To his right hand, since you weren't paying attention.
No, because you bored me to death.
That's a fun.
Yeah, well, yeah, but here's the thing. Like, it has to do with sports. But the injuries in football, and I was watching my Houston Texans a couple weeks ago against Tennessee, and it was just a run-of-the-mill game, and 6 guys went out for the Texans in that game. 6. If that happened in any other sport, there would be an outcry of what is going on. In football, I think it was 3 guys went out with maybe concussions. It was just like, yeah, that guy's out for the rest of the game, that guy's out for the rest of the game. How can this continue where these men are, I know they say we know what we signed up for, but how can we keep sanctioning this type of, violence that leads to these injuries? I'm really worried about the players who are playing, and I love the game, season ticket holder, but, man, it's hard to watch sometimes with so many injuries.
Look,
game after game after game.
Jeff, you're totally right on everything you're saying. Good God, were you depressing and awful this segment. I love you, dude, but this was depressing.
I want Al back.
Listen. You don't get to grade me. You're not the grader. I'm gonna be like many politicians.
No,
I was great today.
I know.
And you just have to accept
but why
that.
can't I get this guy at the end the entire interview as opposed to that killjoy that I spent the first 5 minutes talking to? Why can't I get the guy at the end who's fired up and what? You don't get to grade me.
No, you don't get. No, I was great today. I'm a politician. I was great. And that's how it's going to be. So,
all right, that's good. Philadelphia All Access today, ESPN. You can hear Jeff tonight's broadcast. 76ers Thunder, 7 on ESPN. I love you, but I'm never playing that game with you again. Okay, we're not playing the looks like game anymore. Good.
He's never liked it.
Good.
Boring.
Really?
You're not the grader.
I tried to save it with so many different things.
There was nothing working. We couldn't dig ourselves out of Al.
We got stuck on Al. Oh, I got to go stretch the mark.
Catch more of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz, 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPNU.
holiday cash? Here's where to get it. MyBookie.ag is the place to score serious cash on your sports predictions. There are a lot of football, basketball, and hockey games. You can score big every day. Man up, play like the pros. The money line, side, or total. MyBookie.ag is your hookup for all your betting with all the lines and super fast payouts. Join now and MyBookie.ag will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use promo code CHAMPION to activate the order. Don't leave the money on the table. MyBookie.ag, promo code CHAMPION, and your first deposit is matched to up to 50%. Play where the pros play because they get paid. MyBookie.ag.
Don Le Batard.
Limited fake Tim Kurkjian. What do the Royals have to do to make the playoffs?
Stugotz.
Dan, the Royals are really good.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
All right, so a texter writes in here, ESPN hosts are silent on internal harassment of women, but quick to blame everyone else on their problems. Hypocritical, entitled bleep holes. This is not the way I meant to introduce Tim Kurkjian, a fun and light segment, 786-456-4837, but the Boston Globe is reporting that ESPN has had sexual harassment issues, and you've seen what public relations has had to say about that, offering context to these allegations. And what I would tell you is this particular allegation is something that infected ESPN a long time ago in a way that got it fixed, but you never get it totally fixed. And the workplace has been a hostile environment for women all over the United States and world for a long time, with power being abused by men. And it has happened at this company as well. And but these particular allegations, you could read about them yourself in the Boston Globe, and you could read what ESPN's counter is on that. I'm willing to wait to see what happens with it before I start labeling blame and yelling at everybody. But if indeed she was a victim of sexual harassment, or if many of these women were the victim that put their names on this, these issues are indeed right, then we deserve whatever shame this company gets because of that.
And just to be clear, Dan's always willing to wait. Whether it's a story about us, ESPN, somewhere else, Dan is always willing to wait. Me, not so much, but he is willing to wait.
What an awkward transition to Tim. I'm sorry I ruined this. We've missed you. If you have any baseball questions for Tim Kurkjian, the telephone number is 786-456-4837. Tim, one thing I wanted to ask you, and I've been trying to put pressure on Manfred and just these people in power in baseball. What just happened to South Florida is so many different kinds of wrong after a stadium was built, Tim. And I'm just wondering, like, at what do they realize that they're going to lose every dollar that they had in South Florida, that Jeter's going to fail because there's too much anger down here, that he's not going to build it back up. He's going to fail trying to make profit until 2021 in a television contract that comes up.
Well, Dan, your point is well made on this. I've been listening to you most of the week, and I can't disagree with you on most everything that you say. But what the Marlins have is what other teams have done before. They're not the first team to do this. And, yes, this is the third time they've done it here recently. And I'm worried about the Marlins long term because it's going to take them a really long time to rebuild. And they're not the Cubs rebuilding. They're not the Astros rebuilding. It's going to take a long time, and baseball cannot be happy, of course, with a franchise that might be in some trouble, will be in some trouble moving forward financially. That's what they're trying to get away from.
But Tim, the part that's infuriating, Tim, is stop telling me these are good prospects. They just salary dumped the MVP of the league. You know that nobody wants Starlin Castro. You know the problems he had with the Cubs. Like, that trade was offensive, Tim.
Dan, they didn't get enough for D. Gordon, period. They didn't get enough for Giancarlo Stanton, period. They made a nice deal for Marcell Ozuna, although he is a really good player. So, I talk to people in the industry every day about this stuff, and there are people who thought the Marlins went a little too quickly to deal Stanton. I understand you have to deal him at some point, but you don't have to rush out and do it in 24 hours. Maybe you could have waited and made a better deal.
No, but they botched the whole thing. Stanton wanted to rip Jeter in the press conference and was talked out of it. Stanton wanted to rip Jeter in the press conference, and they talked him out of it because not in New York, Giancarlo, not in New York. But Jeter offended Stanton up and down by the way that he treated him. Like, what's the reputation at the winter meetings? What are people saying about Jeter not being there?
Well, people were confused that I spoke to about why he's not there, because everything he's ever done in his life has been so much under control. He's got a plan for everything. He's the most prepared man you've ever seen, and yet it seems like he wasn't prepared for this because he has to go to the winter meetings, not just to represent the Marlins and explain what happened here, but it's also a great place for a young executive to learn how the baseball business works. And even though he's a very bright guy who's always wanted to own a team, he's still a shortstop. He still has to learn how the business of baseball works, and you can learn an awful lot by going to the winter meetings and talking to people that do a similar job to you.
Can I ask you a question? Because I've got a theory on that, Tim, and I'm wondering if you're buying on it. Derek Jeter never intended to be anything other than the owner of this team. And so owners don't actually go that often to the owners' meetings. Am I right about this? That many owners just skip the owners' meetings and the general managers and stuff. And my theory would be that Derek Jeter doesn't see himself as a general manager. Derek Jeter sees himself as an owner. Or these winter meetings, not the owners' meeting, the winter meetings, that the owners don't go to the winter meetings.
Right. You're absolutely right on that. And I know talking to Derek Jeter years ago, he told me someday he wanted to own a team, not necessarily run a team, but own it. But now it's a different circumstance when you are the face now of ownership and of baseball operations. And when people are quoting you about what we're doing here, they're not calling the owner to ask them that question. They're calling the GM. And in this case, they're also calling Derek Jeter. And that is, at least to me, or at least the people I talked to, who thought that's why he should have gone to the winter meetings.
Tim, there are a lot of questions, certainly down here, as to whether or not Derek Jeter should be an owner of a Major League Baseball team. So I'm wondering, how important to Major League Baseball was it to have Jeter as an owner of one of their teams?
I'm not sure I'm with you guys on this one. Look, they didn't say, hey, if we can get Derek Jeter back into baseball, what a great thing that would be. The Marlins will thrive if Jeter is there. I don't think that was the case at all. You have to prove yourself as a businessman in a different arena, and he is unproven, as he should be. Now, he'll probably be really good at this someday, but nobody steps into a foreign business like this, having played baseball every day for the last 25 years, and then all of a sudden is great at business. It just doesn't work that way.
Does Jimmy Garoppolo look like the guy playing beach volleyball with his twin brother in a Double Mint gum commercial? Does Patriots general manager Patriots defensive coordinator Matt Patricia look like the friend who asks for your Netflix login information so he can watch episodes of Burn Notice? Does Chuck Pagano look like an overly serious high school driver's training instructor who repeatedly barks to the students, 10 and 2 is what we do?
I really do.
Does Will Cain look like the bank teller who is unable to hide his excitement as he tells you that you were charged a $30 overdraft fee for not only each transaction, but also each failed attempt at a transaction after that? He does.
Well,
he does.
He's on my TV screen as you're reading it. Makes it even
He does. Does Jim Harbaugh look like the guy who sits next to you in the exit row and says, got to make sure you get these seats for the leg room? Then when the flight attendant tells you to turn off all electronic devices till after takeoff, he places his hand on you and says, you really don't need to do that, Snickers, and shows you his is still on. What just happened here? What, does Hugh Jackson look like the timid preacher who reluctantly resorts to murder and brutality in a zombie apocalypse movie? He does. Yeah, that's right. You've seen that in The Walking Dead. That is Hugh Jackson is The Walking Dead. Football's Walking Dead. Oh man. Does Ben McAdoo look like the guy in your office who asked you if you watched Survivor last night, knowing full well you never watch it, then tells you that you got to check it out again?
What are you going to do without him?
All right, this is what I want to ask you.
It's a good question.
Does Mike Leach look like the lunch lady? Who looks more like a lunch lady? Put it on the poll, please. Luis Scola, if you put the hair in a hairnet.
Yeah.
Luis Scola, or answer the question.
Or Mike Leach.
Or Mike Leach, Kurkjian.
Yeah, I think it's Mike Leach.
All right. Thank you.
I still can't get over Larry Bird.
Larry Bird.
What? The Ukrainian, old Ukrainian woman who had removed her headscarf?
The greatest player ever.
That's the greatest one. For those of you who don't know, Larry Bird looks like an old Ukrainian woman who's taken off her headscarf. Thank you.
Dan Le Batard.
We got a horse in the game, Dan.
We got a player in the race.
The horse would be in the race.
Oh, whatever.
Stugotz.
We got a horse in the race.
Listen, I can mix and match cliches. I'm the cliche master. I can do whatever I want with my cliches.
You're
okay?
not
They're my cliches, Danny.
They're not yours. They're everybody's. And you're not the cliche master if you can't get them right. That doesn't make you the cliche master. That just makes you bad at speaking.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We're going to go to the grid of death in one segment.
Oh.
One segment from now, we all go to the grid of death this football weekend, but it's a new grid, so the punishments are less painful. Stugotz is paying one of them right now. He is dressed like an old-timey Greek, the emperor, or of some sort.
He's in a toga.
Okay,
Yeah.
There you go. I could have said it like that. I probably should have.
Mm-hmm. Efficient.
So a lot of people are writing in asking for me to talk about this sexual harassment thing because you want to catch me in some sort of hypocrisy or you just enjoy things like this. And so let me preface this by saying, as always, I am happy about what is happening in this country right now, where this silence has been unburdened and the fear and the pain has been unleashed in a way that has women screaming, finally, unafraid and emboldened at men for abusing their power.
This is a great thing.
This is a Pulitzer Prize winning thing, the reporting on this. This is a social difference making thing that is enormous. So that's the starting point on all these conversations, and every American workplace needs some cleaning up on this front. But this is what I would say to you, and I don't say it to cover for ESPN, and I don't say it to tell you how great it is at ESPN now, because I can't possibly know what is going on behind closed doors everywhere. But what I am telling you is that ESPN's past on this subject has been chronicled and is terrible, and ESPN deserves whatever backlash it gets from a time when it was a boys' club, and those things have been reported. A book has been written about it, and ESPN deserves, and those men deserve all the shame that comes from that. But what I would tell you about this is a piece of reporting that is timely. Boston Globe right now is doing some timely reporting, but it's not the newest of reporting, and it's not the best of the reporting. So what you've seen happen here, and I haven't seen this happen a lot in all of these climates and all of these controversies, the company is putting its name on aggressively. No, wait a minute. We thoroughly investigated these particular charges, and here are the details on what we did. I haven't seen a whole lot of companies doing that.
Right.
Doing that where it's like not backing down from this, not seeing the flames climb and canceling projects and suspended people. And if there were any company that I thought would do that, it would be one with Disney. But ESPN is telling you not on this one. And what I would say to you is pay attention to that behavior, not to cover for the company, but if the company is doing something you have not seen other companies do, you might want to think to yourself, maybe the company thinks it's right on this one.
I just want to be clear for myself, for you, for the audience. You're saying on these specific allegations that were in the Boston Globe, there might be others out there, but these specific allegations
on these,
in the Boston Globe.
ESPN has countered, and I haven't seen that happen very much with companies, certainly not with the brand name. The tendency is to back away from those flames, understandably. You don't want any part of it. Hell, the NFL is backing away from all the anthem stuff because it doesn't want Trump's Twitter hands, as Mina calls them. Doesn't want to deal with Trump's Twitter hands. You don't want that around your company. The fact that these allegations have been made in the Boston Globe, and the fact that ESPN provided the Boston Globe before that story came out with the context, and now the Boston Globe didn't exactly report something that was as bad as some of the things we've seen. We're throwing in this same cauldron what Russell Simmons is accused of, which is rape by 3 women and questionable workplace behavior that the company is willing to attack somebody on with the details. I'm telling you to pay attention to what's happening there, because that, I don't know who to believe. Like, you could figure it out yourself. I'm not advocating on behalf of anyone here, and I certainly don't want a victim to feel more like a victim. But in these circumstances, how that has to be hard for the woman involved if she believes she's right. Again, we talked about this in the local hour. There is a huge disconnect between what Russell Simmons seems to believe was okay behavior and consensual sex, Yogi Russell Simmons, and what women thought was acceptable behavior who are accusing him of rape. That's a huge gulf of difference. Mm-hmm. And there are degrees all throughout that make that part of it complicated. We're not talking about rape here. Don't throw this in that cauldron. We're not talking about Harvey Weinstein. If you want to make those accusations about ESPN in the past, you could have done some of the more damaging accusing 20 years ago. And while I'm not saying this is a perfect place, I've told you this story before, Stugotz. I told you this story. This must have happened 15 years ago. A girlfriend of mine went up there to be interviewed and felt stalked twice. Felt stalked.
It's crazy.
To the point, and I've told this story before publicly, and I don't want to do it again now with the name, because in this particular climate, it's dangerous to attach names to these things. I've done it before. You could Google search it, and I'll take the consequences of that. I've mentioned the name before. But like knocking on the hotel room door when he wasn't invited. Like slipping notes under the desk. Like men behave badly. And once we start analyzing this stuff throughout sports, we are going to find some things that make some people deeply uncomfortable. Because if you think Harvey Weinstein is entitled, think about all of these beautiful bodies in sports who think they're simply entitled because of the fame and money to the orgy. Like, if you think it's problematic with the gross, disgusting lecherous Harvey Weinstein, now make it someone who has power and that's also physically beautiful and physically strong. Like, if we start investigating rape culture in sports, we're going to be really disturbed by what we find. Like, super disturbed.
Don't you think someone's doing that probably right now?
But what I'm saying, it's like NCAA investigations. I feel like you could do it. I feel like you could do some of this stuff in any American workplace where men have power, and you are going to find all sorts of Wall Street dirt, like the stuff that we celebrate in Wolf of Wall Street. Like, we celebrate it there, but you're going like this. America is experiencing a reckoning right now where men are running scared because women finally have some real power.
Well, men are going through a reckoning. I think what's happening for women is fantastic. The fact that they feel emboldened, they feel confident enough to finally come out of the darkness and lend a voice to what's going on and what they've experienced.
But so what I'm saying is you could hit just about any brand with this kind of investigation and allegation, and you probably end up being right. If you had to take a guess, you'd probably find it in just about every American workplace, and that's why it matters that it's being discussed this way, and specifically men are being forced to re-examine previous behaviors and comb through their past to figure out if they may have done something that was indelicate, unkind, or criminal to women.
Dan Le Batard.
Guillermo, you were here throughout the entirety of that. We talked to them for an hour. What did you think? You guys were listening. What did you guys think was the best thing in there?
Stugotz.
You weren't listening. Okay,
I mean,
good talking
so
to you. Okay, good talking to you. You weren't listening. Excellent work by you again, as always, Guillermo. You brought it strong, as always.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Oh, the Reaper's lurking. The clumsy, insecure Reaper is lurking. Yeah, looking for its headsets or looking for something. It's misplaced something.
Good news
the bucket,
is,
of course, it misplaced the bucket.
The most important thing.
Right.
But the good thing is Zardos is off the board. That has been taken by Greg Cody.
All right, well, Mike, what is on here now? If you don't know what we do here every week, we go into a bucket, we reach in, we grab some helmets. It's like a suicide pool, and we're going to get to that in a second. But first, Stugotz has a Sports Center read.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Chris Sims going to be there in a half hour. We'll find out together. We're just 30 minutes away who his 60th best quarterback in the NFL is. It's exciting. Half hour from now. Don't change that channel. Here's your SportsCenter update. Kristaps Porzingis left the Knicks-Nets game early with a sore knee and may miss Carmelo Anthony's return to the Garden on Saturday. The Vegas Golden Knights became the fastest NHL franchise to 20 wins in its first season. And finally, starting today, Regal Cinemas across the country say they will offer Cheeto-flavored popcorn. The Cheetos popcorn will be available in 32-ounce cups at participating theaters nationwide.
Oh, my God.
I love those.
No, I mean, who's not going to love that?
Yeah, that is great. No matter what your budget is, take the JCPenney Holiday Challenge and find surprising gifts at even more surprising prices. Save on toys, apparel, and name-brand gifts your family will absolutely love. Come into the store or go online, jcp.com, and get everything on your list for less than you think. JCPenney. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
So we have gotten through the bad part or the worst part. We suffered it, man. It was a month before the ending penalties on that previous grid of death it just took forever for them to disappear.
I got the golden helmet of life, which gets you 3 weeks. You don't have to participate in this 3 weeks. I got it, and there was basically nothing left on the grid. So I thought I had avoided the Zardos and the tarantula crawling across your face.
Cockroach, hissing cockroach. Giant hissing cockroach.
And so I thought I would avoid those things. And then 3 weeks later, I got back, and all those things were still there because no one was losing.
Yeah, we got to bring Ron McGill in one day when Amin is here because Amin had to select the hissing cockroach across his face.
Oof.
Do you have the sound that a hissing cockroach makes, Mike? Do you have that somewhere on the files? I think you might. That library is pretty comprehensive. But so we have to go to this grid of death. The Grim Reaper wanders around. Yeah. That's the hissing cockroach.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what Amin is getting on his face. And Greg Cody has to do the Zardos, which is going to be amazing. It really is. Greg Cody is mad at us, incidentally. He's mad at the show. We got to call him. Let's call Greg Cody because Greg Cody's mad at the show because we put him on a poll the other day. Friends of the show.
Right.
And he didn't want to be on it. He thinks he's not a friend of the show.
He's a part of the show.
He is the show.
He is the show. Right. On Tuesdays, he thinks he is the show. So he's mad that we put him on the poll, or is he mad that he lost the poll?
No, both.
Okay.
Both is what happened.
All right.
So can you guys put that on the poll, though? Greg Cody. Should he be a friend of the show? Or is Greg Cody friend of the show or the show? Friend of the show or the show?
Yeah, I like what you're doing there. Framing it that way, he's more likely to get a happy result.
He can't lose, right?
No,
he's going to want the show, though, and that's the thing. Now, friends of the show won't be acceptable.
All right, we'll call him and argue with him in a second. Oh, the Reaper's got to sit down and type up the poll because the right here, the way the flume works is that when responsibilities get delegated, those people have to handle those responsibilities. So for some reason, Chris couldn't have gone to the poll and just put it on the poll. The Reaper had to put it on the poll. So I want you to sign it, the insecure, clumsy Reaper, when you put that on the poll.
A special day.
We've got people out today. We've got people out today. Billy's out today. Allison's out today. We got people out today.
Billy's out on Grid of Death, Bucket of Death draw. But however, he is on the phone. I'm in my final week of the Golden Helmet of Life. By proxy, I will pick for him and run the first helmet by him to make sure he's cool with it.
All right, very good. That sounds like a plan. That sounds like we're organized. That sounds like we're all ready to go to the Grid of Death. A new Bucket of Death, a new Grid of Death. What are some of the new challenges on the new Grid of Death?
I have exciting news. Grid 6.0. This is a debut of tandem deaths. You may be asking yourself, what is a tandem death? Well, it is a death that you have to suffer with someone else on the show, and you go through this together, baby. And an example of that is a Stuck on You. You must be handcuffed to someone on this show for an entire show. Or the Rocky 3, where you and some other poor soul has to recreate the Rocky 3 training scene on the beach, shot for shot, outfit for outfit.
Oh, the homoerotic one? The homoerotic one?
I mean, that's my dream.
You and me doing it?
Yeah. Running into the ocean together.
With tube socks?
Yes.
And then me beating you in a race after losing to you several times in a race, or is it you beating me in a race after losing to me several times?
In my mind, it's always me beating you in the race.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some of the worst ones on here, I would say, the one chip challenge is on there. You've seen all the web videos on that.
I took a bite of that thing. It's nasty, man.
Stugotz did that on Highly Questionable. He took a bite of that thing.
I think this one's pretty bad. Pretzel socks. You have to put a bunch of salted rolled gold pretzels in your socks and walk around.
Yeah, well, all of these, I would say that all of these are worse than you ever think they are.
And
it's more inconvenient.
It's our first ever repeat death. Greg's other great toe. Oh.
Okay, very good. So his other toenail needs to be
I'm
cut.
still reeling from that.
All right, we'll call Greg Cody in a little bit here.
And you'd probably say there is an eggnog bath where you have to dip yourself in a large bin filled with eggnog and stay in it for 5 minutes.
Right. Ooh.
Yeah. And Too Fast, Too Furious. Watch all the Fast and the Furious movies over a 2-day span. Your experience must be periscoped.
Oh, no.
Oh, geez.
That's awful.
Yeah.
All right, let's go, Reaper. Let's get this done here. Let's get it over with. Fats and Info is going to be the first to select. Let's see what he selects here. The helmet that he selects will correspond with a team playing this weekend. If it does not win, he will suffer shame and death.
I have the Seahawks.
All right, the Seahawks are at home, a 1-point favorite against the Rams.
Oh.
Putting it back.
Yeah.
Smart.
Got to be careful with that Whitworth guy coming around the corner with those one-man screens. Take out your whole secondary.
Sweet. I got the Harlem Globetrotters.
All right.
Oh, nice.
Man,
nice.
That helmet has been gotten a lot. Congratulations to you.
Well, they still may not win.
Does he get their next game or 2 games ahead?
Their very next game.
Because I have the next game.
Okay, you have the next. I think you already won. I think you're already safe.
You were good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they played.
The Globetrotters always win.
All right.
It doesn't matter.
All right. I have Billy on the line right now.
All right, Billy. Mike is going to select for you, Billy. Are you ready, Billy, for Mike to select for you? Yes or no?
Hey, guys.
All right, Billy has lost 8 times. Billy has lost 8 times this season. There's been nothing but suffering in this bucket for Billy.
I'm getting you a good rummage right now, Billy.
So glad you guys called me for this.
Yeah.
Hold on, Mike, hold on. The helmet of death! Double death!
My God,
no, double death! I'm sorry, Billy!
Just kidding, Billy.
Just kidding, Billy.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Hilarious.
Okay, the first helmet drawn is the coin flip of death helmet.
Do you want a coin flip to decide your fate right now? We can do it right now. That what would be best for the show is for us to decide your fate right now. If you want to do what's best for the show, flip a coin right now.
Let's do it.
All right. I have the coin.
All right, where to go, Billy? Billy has taken 8 losses here.
You're holding your hand out for a coin. Mike has
Does anyone have a coin?
Well, no, there's an official coin.
There is an official coin.
Yeah, hold on a second.
We ran into an issue because Billy left his desk so messy that Allison had to clean it. I knew exactly where the coin was.
We'll come back to it. That's fine. We'll clean up this mess as we go.
Wait, Billy, what are you going to call? Heads or tails?
Oh, well, it's red. It's red or black. I'm going to go. Well, it depends which one's facing up. Lots of factors here.
All right, no, he's entitled to know that information.
Roy, all right, you think about it for a second. Roy, you now select from the bucket of death. Roy selects from the bucket of death.
Hassan Whiteside over half assist.
I mean, when's the last time he played?
So you need Hassan Whiteside the next game that he plays to get over an assist.
Right, so you'll be delayed for 2 or 3 weeks before it happens, but when he returns, he's got to come back in a game and have an assist.
No.
What? Roy?
Well, he doesn't get assists.
But it doesn't happen for 2 or 3 weeks.
I know, but there's nothing bad on this in this grid or yet. It's easy. You got the 49ers. The 49ers stink. 49ers have Garoppolo, though. The 49ers are at home against the Titans. You're a 2-point favorite.
That's good.
Congratulations.
All right.
All right, so come in here for Stugotz now before we flip the coin. Let's come in here for Stugotz.
I don't know if that's an upgrade,
this
man.
Reaper is a nightmare.
Oh, wow. Whiteside had 1 assist in a month. All right, good job, Roy.
All right, go, Stugotz. Let's get this done. Yes, Stugotz would have kept that helmet thinking that Hassan Whiteside, he had 1 month with 1 assist.
Yeah, I mean, the season started October 18th, but in the month of October, he had 1 assist. All right, I like to rummage around the bucket a little bit.
Billy, who do you want to flip the coin? Ask Billy who he wants to flip the coin. Who do you want to flip the coin, Billy? I think, no, wait a minute. Hold on, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. Whatever fell out doesn't count.
All right, we want to put it back, Reaper?
Is it going to be the golden helmet of life?
No, it was the Lee Corso thing. We should probably take this out. I don't think Corso's doing it.
No, he's still picking games. There's bowl games.
All right, here we go. I'm rummaging around. I have a helmet, Dan. There's a helmet in my hand.
Oh, it's all black, but it's got writing on it.
It says the fine bucket.
Oh, all right. So you get
plus instant death. So you get instant death and whatever's in the fine bucket, which is like
was that your
$30.
first draw though? You can put that one back.
Oh, you can. Really?
How much money's in there?
It's like $30.
And there's easy stuff.
Yeah, it's a start of the grid.
You get $30.
A free $30.
Yes, it's a free $30.
But a punishment.
You die immediately. 40 says
There's $40 in there?
$40.
But all right, I'll take it.
All right, instant death.
$40.
$40.
I mean, it's all mine anyways.
20 of it, though, is, I believe, Mina's eating 20.
20 is an Eaton $20 bill from Mina.
What?
Yes. So
I have $20.
And a death.
I got the Chargers. I've selected the Chargers. They are red hot, but they're going to the Chiefs. It's going to be in the snow.
Primetime game. At Arrowhead.
Do I want that?
No, you don't want that.
I'd put that back.
You know it's going to be close. It's Phillip Rivers. You know all that stuff.
They've been good, though, here for a while. All right, I got the Panthers. I don't
you're
want
going
them
against
either.
Aaron Rodgers.
No! Devil bucket, no!
You want to flip this coin here, or?
Yeah, Billy, what are you calling? Let's go.
Wait, hold on a second.
Which color is facing up?
Right now, the color that is facing up is red, which means you're safe. Black is you die.
Oh, I don't call the color?
No, you do, but he's doing it with the red color.
Yeah, you don't call
up.
the color.
It doesn't matter.
Black.
Just flip the coin.
Just flip.
Let's go.
Red, you survive. Black, you die.
You guys just saw what happens when one guy is making the rule.
Black, you died.
Wait, black, you die.
You want red?
No, it doesn't matter what he picks. If it lands on red
What am I picking for?
You're not picking anymore.
All right. If it lands on red up, you win. If it lands on black up, you lose.
Cool.
I'm protesting this already.
Here we go.
Nice.
He is safe, but it's under protest. That stinks.
Payday.
Finally, Billy got lucky with something.
Payday.
Billy got lucky, finally.
You still going to root for Rodgers, or?
Yes, I'm going to root for Rodgers. Even if it means I have to wear a tutu.
Just took $40 for instant death, man.
You want more of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz? Tune in, starting at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPNU.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I'm so happy, I feel like I can fly.
Disclaimer, you will not be able to fly by switching to Geico. This is against the laws of physics and nature. If you find yourself flying, please seek professional and or medical help immediately. In the unlikely event you find yourself flying, you might be a superhero, or a pigeon, or a superhero named Pidgewoman, who was bitten by a radioactive pigeon. If you are indeed Pidgewoman, Geico retains all licensing publishing rights in the event Pidgewoman the movie becomes a top-grossing Hollywood blockbuster.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Dan Le Batard. I'm going to a concert. The date is in my bedroom. Somebody has used the bidet and it doesn't look clean. And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, how do I clean this?
Stugotz.
So I'm staring at this. I got 4 faucets and this doesn't look clean to me. And I've got a date outside and I'm like, that's kind of gross. That she would come in here and there would be a dirty bidet. She's going to accuse me. I don't know how to use the bidet. I turn one of the fountains right in my face. Gets my shirt all wet.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We do a sloppy show, sloppy by design, and we absolutely stumble all the time into accidentally comedic things. If we're talking to Lane Kiffin and then next thing you know, he says the wrong thing or he hits, he makes a Sandusky joke and like you just don't, it's a sloppy show. Everything that's happening around here. And if it's awkward or weird, all the better. But I want all of you to absorb right now, as I'm talking, something that's escaped attention unless you were paying a little bit of close attention. I want you to understand this poison, this game of death, this bucket of death that all of us hate, but the listeners love and pays off for us with these comedically funny things that we all have to wear and do that are good on the radio. It pays off with content even though all of us hate it. I just want you guys to understand what a short-circuited cluster bleep this is when we can't flip a coin around here.
Yep.
Like, it took 6 people to flip a coin, all bouncing into each other at the height of the lowest rung of the show business ladder.
First, we had to find the coin.
No, but I'm saying
that was a difficult task.
Just saying what a poison this entire game is and how funny it is that accidentally, not as a bit, accidentally we arrived at a place where all of us forgot how to flip a coin. We're asking Billy to call it. When if it lands on red if it lands on red, you're happy. If it lands on black, you're not happy. The side that's showing.
Right.
Like, we didn't know how to flip a coin, Stugotz.
No, we didn't. Well, I mean, that's the problem when only one person makes the rules and has the rules. I mean, I don't want to put this all on Mike, but that is the problem.
But it's a beautiful mess, and it pays off for us in content. But what I'm telling you is the hostility is real. And I'm telling you, this game has all sorts of poisons around it. Because Mike, I haven't seen Mike as angry in the last 4 months as I saw him in the middle of this game last week screaming at everybody.
Yeah.
Screaming at everybody.
Yeah.
And speaking of angry, Allison's angry at LeVar Ball, and I want to get to that. She says she's livid. Livid. She described herself as livid with LeVar Ball.
Huh.
I'm also angry with Billy because I sat in his seat today and he knew this, and we spoke yesterday, and he said, "Oh, I'm cleaning up this space for you." When I came in this morning, it was disgusting.
Yeah, like yogurt,
I mean,
the Go-Gurt.
the fact that you guys even found the coin.
No, he's gross.
He's disgusting.
It is.
Everything's living here.
It was like something that gets hidden. I understand what you're saying. I've been watching prison movies lately, and sometimes you have to smuggle things in uncomfortable places, and it feels like Billy's got all sorts of things like that around and in his desk.
It's a disaster back there. However, I knew exactly where the coin was. Allison gets in there, cleans everything up, and then it takes 6 people to find a coin.
2 good prison movies, Stugotz. You like both of them.
All right, writing them down. Hold on.
Two good ones. Shot Caller.
Okay.
And Brawl on Cell Block 99, I think.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that one already. Shot Caller.
Right?
Shot
Yeah,
Caller.
both of them are really good. Both of them surprised me. I wasn't expecting very much, and I enjoyed both of them.
Okay.
Anyways, Allison, why are you livid? Why are you livid with LeVar Ball?
This guy, okay, how many interviews has this guy done? I mean, a lot. He's everywhere, and you had asked last week if he could be on the show, or 2 weeks ago, if he could be on the show.
I wanted, because we ordered shoes, I wanted to go to the the customer service rep, LeVar Ball, because we ordered shoes 7 months ago, had not gotten them, and then when we got them, they were not the right shoes. They were a different shoe than the one we ordered.
I couldn't get to him. And when they finally responded 2 weeks later, he's unavailable. One line at like 1 a.m, he's unavailable. And to me, I wish I could say the words that I really feel about that when I read the email, because you spent $1,000, you spent a show dedicated to this brand, talking about this brand, bought the shoes, did a giveaway, unavailable. How long did you talk about it? You talked about it ad nauseum.
The entire Cinco de Mayo show was a ball extravaganza.
Yeah.
He's unavailable, but he's everywhere. He's everywhere.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to go to war with LeVar Ball?
Well, no, because
let's go to war.
I spoke to them and I said, wait, I want to understand something, just so I'm clear. Is he unavailable right at this moment, today, or is he unavailable, period? And at the beginning of the conversation, he said he was unavailable, period. And then at the end, he said, he's available Monday. And I sort of felt like, I don't really know how I feel about it, but it's not my show, and it's whatever you guys say.
Well, what do you think? Oh, so now you want to pull. So should we do LeVar? All right, well, should that be the question? Should we talk? I want to just talk to LeVar Ball as the customer service rep on why did you send me the wrong shoes? These are not the shoes I ordered.
I like the idea, though, of Allison going after LeVar Ball when he's on the air with us. I do. I like that idea.
His guy also said to me that he doesn't do that. He's not going to answer questions. If you don't like the shoes, you can return them and get your money back.
Oh, I thought that wasn't even allowed. I thought that was a thing.
He said if you want your money back, you can get your money back.
I mean, that would take forever.
I mean, maybe next May when you order them.
Well, I bet you the listener, I bet you.
Now, their policy should be, this should be your policy.
Guys, if you want the Big Baller Brand stuff for the holidays, I suggest you go ahead and order it next March.
Right.
I just want to say the sneakers were $500.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's absurd.
Well, but wait a minute, though. What we can do, if indeed, I didn't know that they allowed refunds. I assure you the listeners would prefer the $500 who won those sneakers than they would to have the sneakers. I'm guessing they'd rather have the $500.
Dan, you're going to send those shoes back, and you're never going to get your money. So then you'll have no shoes and no money. What you should do?
LeVar Ball is running a business where he's not going to return my money. He's going to tell me he returns it, takes the shoes, and resells them.
That's exactly what we're saying. That's what's going to happen, and they should have a different policy. Right. No, you'll return the shoes once you get the money.
He's looking for the word with undefeated that he can find that would make it no refund. That would make it end with no refund.
I'm still scanning.
I know. That's fine. You tell me when you got it. Take your time. I'll do the show here with Allison and Stugotz and everybody else, and you figure out the way to end the segment with the perfect joke. You have 2 minutes, okay? I'll give you 2 minutes, and it's the way we're going to end this segment.
Where did he leave us at? No refunds?
Yes, and so that's what he's got. I'm curious, though. This is a legitimate thing. What should we do here, Allison? Because should we go to war with LeVar Ball? If, at the very least, he should come on here and answer for why it is I got the wrong sneakers.
Completely different pairs of sneakers. $500. You should at least, maybe a note that says, I know this isn't what you ordered. Mm-hmm. Oh, no.
Nothing. All right. So what do you do? What do you suggest, though? Do you suggest we not talk to LeVar Ball on Monday? I think the people put it up on the poll. Should we talk to LeVar Ball on Monday?
Good save.
To ask him for a refund on our Big Baller shoes and treat him as customer service? Yes or no?
No refunds. Expensive cost.
Wait a minute. It was too early. I was waiting for the end of the segment. Why'd you blurt in there?
I was so excited when I found out cost rhymes with lost, and I get to do never lost. Expensive cost.
What were you talking about before? You thought that me and Stugotz should change the way that we end segments to make it more morning show-like?
So Spotify, this is real cool because a lot of people listen to their music on Spotify, and if you had one beef with Spotify is that they didn't have podcasts too. And now you can get podcasts and music in all one singular destination. You just hit the browse tab and search for podcasts or spotify.com/podcast. We put out the link on our Twitter feed at Le Batard Show. It's very cool. And also, the coolest part about this is Spotify has picked us as one of a handful of podcasts that they're sort of trotting out to market. To announce that they have podcasts now, Spotify is saying you can listen to the Dan Le Batard Show here. We're one of the very few shows that they're doing this. It's very cool. And they came up with a really cool marketing slogan for our show. Big stats, loud hats. And I was telling you before the show.
They did that?
Yeah, they did that. Big stats, loud hats.
What is that?
I think it's something that you should sign off segments with.
Yeah.
Stugotz goes big stats.
So instead of like the way that Golick and Greenberg did it, where I'm Mike and I'm Mike.
Yep. Mike and Mike.
And we're Mike and Mike.
Yeah.
That you think that he should do it.
Big stats.
Loud hats.
Yes.
And then it ends that way?
Yeah.
I don't like big stats, loud hats. That's not our show.
Well, the loud hats are.
I wear hats that people don't like. But
big fats.
Yeah, see, there you go. That's so much better. Why are we not doing that with Spotify?
Big fat. Loud hat.
No, you got to go.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, big stats. Oh, but it's got to be singular.
No, big fats, loud hats. And then what do we do?
No, then you just go to commercial.
Yeah, we stare at each other awkwardly and end the segment.
Payday, it is payday.
Oh, savage.
You got a little lost. And
I'm not lost at all.
Staring into
weird.
space.
What happened, Allison?
Weird show.
He's just staring into space.
Big stats!
He was also looking at the end of his sausage fingers. He was like...
There's a nail here that's really long. I forgot to cut it. It's the only one I didn't cut, and I wanted to bite it off the entire segment, but I didn't want to do that on air because that's rude.
That's fascinating. Better to talk about it.
It's one really long.
See it? It's weird.
Careful with
that finger.
Dan Le Batard. Thank you, Google. Stugotz.
Thank you, Google.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Dan, it is time to pump the brakes. Can we pump the brakes on everyone trying to figure out the conversation between LeBron James and Lonzo Ball last night? Like there was some message there like, hey, I'm going to play with you next year in L.A. because he would say it there, right? Center court with the jersey over his mouth. That's where he would reveal to Lonzo Ball, hey, I'm coming here next year. I'm going to play with you. He didn't say that. And by the way, you can get Lonzo Ball on the phone anytime he wants if he wanted to say anything like that. Can we pump the brakes? And here's the other thing. And I'm speaking specifically to Golick, I think, here. He's not staying in Cleveland. And anyone who thinks that he is staying in Cleveland, you got another thing coming. I am telling you, I have majored. If sports had a major, I have majored in LeBron James and his off-the-court conduct. That's my major. If we could choose majors here, I'd choose LeBron James. I'm an expert in how he conducts his business off the court, and I am telling you right now, he is not coming back to play with Kevin Love and J.R. Smith. He will be in Philadelphia or Houston next year. So pump the brakes on him staying in Cleveland and pump the brakes on trying to decipher what he said to Lonzo Ball last night. Pump the Brakes is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Advance Auto Parts presents Speed Perks Rewards Program. Spend $100 and get $20 off your next qualified purchase. No cards, no points, no nonsense.
Can you say that expression again so I could listen more closely? If you think blank, what? You have another blank coming? I want to hear the whole expression.
If you think LeBron James is coming back to Cleveland next year, you have another thing coming.
All right. Isn't it another think coming? Isn't the saying if...
Another thing coming. Another think coming.
If you think...
It's not even English.
No, if you think this, you have another think coming. Isn't the second think, not thing. You have another thing coming doesn't really make sense. You have another think coming means you have to rethink.
No,
you have to rethink your original position.
No, you're thinking one thing. You're thinking that LeBron James is going to return to Cleveland, and I'm telling you to think about another thing because that thing ain't happening.
No, I get that, but I know, but I wasn't sure on what the expression is. I'm still not sure what the expression is.
Oh, you talk about a metal band called Judas Priest. The song is definitely called "You've Got Another Thing Coming," and not "You Got Another Think Coming."
That's weird. I've never even heard that.
But wouldn't it? All right, what makes more sense? If you think X, you have another thing coming, or if you think X, you have another think coming. I'm not sure you guys are right about this. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm not. You guys are coming at me kind of strong on this, and I'm not sure what's right.
You're wrong. Yeah.
Allison's got an answer for you.
Grammarist.com. Another think coming is the original form of the colloquial. I know I was going to say it wrong.
Colloquialism.
Phrase. I did nail it before, not now. Aimed at someone who has a mistaken view. It comes from the old comical expression, if that's what you think, you've got another think coming.
Dan.
Correct, Dan.
So colloquial.
And it's wrong. That's a fine. In my personal record book, it's I've got another thing coming. I don't care. Colloquial.
But is it not then another thing coming? Or both can be used?
It says because think in the second part of the expression is intentionally ungrammatical, some people hear another thing coming and repeat it as such.
Okay, so it's not thing. You're wrong, Stugotz. You're flatly wrong. It's not. It's not. You can do it both ways. The thing is wrong. It's not you've got another thing coming. You've got another think coming.
All right, so if you think that LeBron James is coming back to Cleveland next year, I'm here to tell you you have another think coming.
But since the colloquial times...
Feels wrong.
It's become another thing. You were right that was the original intent, but it's transformed.
When were these times?
The colloquial ones?
You're dressed as you're dressed as a Roman gladiator, so I'm guessing during those times when people were looking at skulls and writing to be or not to be.
So during that time, I would have had to pay money for a fine, but we are well past that time, and you owe some money.
Allison, can you explain to me? Allison was still railing during the break. She gets fired up about this, and fired up Allison is fun, Allison. Angry Allison, you don't see that very often.
No.
I don't.
Nope.
Allison is mad at LeVar Ball, and she was yelling about the gall on this guy.
I mean, it's ridiculous. You spend that much money on something 9 months ago, and it's not even the right thing. And you don't even communicate to your customer, hey, this isn't, I mean, just the balls on all of it. I don't know if I can say
it's
that.
It's a one-man operation. I mean, what do you want him to do?
Well, you don't know if you're going to say that is probably, you don't know if you're allowed to say that. It's probably something that you should ask or figure out before you say it.
You were saying the names. It's all good.
The balls. What about the balls? Just get them all out of here? You're done with all of them?
All of them.
All right. We've got Chris Sims next up to rank some quarterbacks with us.
Well, just one, number 60. Sounds like you got another think coming.
I was laughing before you even delivered it.
It's a great joke by Mike.
Dan Batard.
Oscar Robinson had 41 triple-doubles back in 61-62. 41.
Stugotz.
It's Robertson, but...
Big O.
Okay, but...
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Allison, would you be kind enough during this segment, please, while we're talking to Chris Sims, to just rummage through Billy's desk and occasionally tell us, like, see if you can find the weirdest thing in Billy's desk. If there are more than one weird thing, nominate it during this interview with Chris Sims. I want to know some of the weird things you might be able to find by rummaging around in and out of his desk. He eats very strangely.
Yeah, without rummaging, the first item is baby food.
Okay, so you found baby food. Oh, that's not even rummaging. There's just baby food. What kind of baby food?
Those would be salchichas.
Yeah, that's,
those are sausages for babies. Okay.
What are you doing?
Yes. Okay. I mean, he's eating like
They're in
an
water,
actual
too.
baby. Yeah, they're in water. Sausages in a small jar. It's a baby food jar. That's the first thing you picked up?
Yeah, it's right there. I mean, this could be days of what's going on under here. I mean,
all right, let's see what. All right, you just tell us occasionally. That's fine.
Okay.
That's a good initial nominee. You tell me when you find treasure. You tell me when you found something. Chris Sims with us. This quarterback list. We like Chris Sims. We become a fan of Chris Sims here. Bleacher Report is where you check him out. He's got a podcast there. He's been giving us his top 70 quarterbacks in the NFL, starting with number 70, Blake Bortles, because he says Blake Bortles is 70th best. And so our list right now.
We actually have 71 because he gave us Cody Kessler as 71.
That's right. So the list from bottom to top goes as follows. Cody Kessler, Blake Bortles, and that means that all of these people, according to Chris Sims, are better than Blake Bortles. Austin Davis, TJ Yates, Cardale Jones, Brandon Whedon, CJ Beathard, Sean Mannion, Jake Ruddock, Cooper Rush, Nathan Peterman. So now, number 60 in our 70-day contract with Chris Sims, the 60th best quarterback in the world is
Landry Jones, backup quarterback Steelers.
Woo!
Wow. That dude really embarrassed your dad one time.
Contain your excitement, guys. Contain yourself.
Yes, no, that's a good one. I actually, on my list, I have him at 61, so we're thinking along the same lines.
Okay, good. Hey, great minds think alike, Stugotz.
There you go.
How, Mike, what were you saying about something in Phil Sims?
I said Landry Jones famously made Phil Sims look like a goof one time because he was calling him the most prepared quarterback in the league, one of the best backups, and then he immediately threw like a pick six.
Oh, can we start beef between you and your father on this over Landry? Can we do that?
No, you can't. I mean, it's not the first time something dumb came out of my father's mouth, but he's not perfect.
Okay, very good. All right, well, thank you. We'll check in with you on Monday. I hope that you have a nice weekend, and thank you for making time for us every day. We appreciate it, and we look forward to the next 59 days of this.
No, thanks for having me. You guys are good guys, and it's a great show, so I'm glad to be a part of it.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend, man.
Good seeing you. All right, this is a big day for Stugotz. Stugotz is very excited. Stugotz has been talking about this all day. He's been talking about it all week.
Yeah. In fact, Chris Sims probably is going to be doing something similar to what I'm going to be doing this afternoon. Now, Chris Sims is from the New York area and loves Francesa.
No, he's not going to be watching Francesa.
I guarantee it.
Get him back on the line. Is Chris Sims there? Can you get him back on the line real quick?
We got to call him back.
All right.
Yeah, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. So this is a big day because it's Mike Francesa. I grew up in New York. I grew up in Long Island, and I grew up on Mike and the Mad Dog, and I was in the Mike and the Mad Dog 30 for 30 singing their jingle, which is not exactly what I was expecting. In fact, Mike, do we have that sound? Because that's the only line I delivered in that movie. And so it's a big day. Russo left Francesa years ago, and now Mike is doing his final show on WFAN in New York today, and I have planned, usually Friday afternoons especially, I mean, look at the weather outside today. For those of you who are listening on the radio and watching on TV, you would not know what the weather is down here because we are in a room that has no windows, but it's 70 degrees and there's not a cloud in the sky. That spells golf for me. Not today. Today I go home and pay respect to the Pope.
Wow. All right.
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
All right. I want to talk to you about this, but Chris Sims, he is alleging that you two are going to sit around watching 6.5 hours of Mike Francesa's final show. Will you or will you not do that?
No, negative ghostwriter. I've wasted enough of my life listening to Mike Francesa the last few years. I will check in and give it a quick listen, but that's about it.
All right.
All right.
Quick listen, I'll take it.
All right, very good. The very opinionated Chris Sims, not afraid to say what he thinks. Thank you. See you.
All right, see you.
All right,
see you. So I'll have to listen to the first portion of the show on my drive home here because it takes about an hour. He's on from 1 to 6:30, and then when I get home, I will gather myself either around the television or the radio, and I will listen to his final show. And I'm excited to do it. Now, I think this is probably taking it a little bit too far. I have a friend who is having a listen party, not a watch party. They don't want to watch it on Yes. They want to listen to it. And he's having like 25 of his friends over the house, and they're drinking beers all afternoon. And they're going to listen. They're all going to sit around the radio and have a listen party and listen to the final 5.5 hours of Mike Francesa. That's taking it a bit far. I mean, a listen party.
Oh, well, yes, it is. It is
a little weird, I mean.
But he is, in the history of this particularly crappy medium, one of the best One of the most known to have ever done it.
Yeah. Is that a strange way to spend my Friday afternoon?
Yes, it's very strange.
Yeah.
And he just became so bloated on ego, and like everything just rushed past him in sports because that's not what young people want anymore. Like that's what they wanted when he was creating it, sort of the strident gas bag who thinks he knows everything. But now there's so many people listening right now who know more than we do about what we're talking about that it's better to strip the veneer of it in the modern age so that, people don't think that you know everything. But Mike Francesa thinks he could do everything in sports.
He actually, a caller called him recently, asking him about the Yankees manager job, and he took it seriously. The caller was joking, and he said, they haven't offered it to me, but if they did, I could do it. Well, and he didn't know they were joking. But I am wondering, because you and I have different sensibilities. I love radio. I love sports radio. You don't particularly love sports radio. You love our show. You love doing our show.
Well, no, I hate sport. I hate most sports radio.
But
no, but be clear on that. Like most sports radio, I find to be really interminable, which is sort of why we do this way. Like, I just find it to be droning.
So I'm just wondering, though, because I'm telling you, these two guys, Mike and the Mad Dog, are the reason I decided to do this, okay? Listening to them growing up. And so that's why I'm going to listen for 5.5 hours today. But you're a journalist. You love writing. You love good journalists. If there's a guy who said, hey, this is my last article, it's going to take you 6 hours to get through, but it's my final thing.
I am not mocking that you would treat this as a day of reverence. Like, that's cool that Mike Francesa is a pioneer and that you are affording him the proper send-off. You are affording him the graceful old person exit. I'm not, because I don't like what he stood for, raining down judgment upon all from on high, thinking that he knew everything while judging everyone harshly. And my main objection to Francesa is twofold. It's sort of bullying ego, like, about this dude. So, but no, he gets this day. He earned this day. And this day should be a day of celebration, and I should shut my gas bag mouth up and celebrate him.
Well, no, you don't have to, but I'm just wondering.
No, but he deserves. He's done, that's a long run. You don't get those in this business. It's
a 20-year run.
He had a hell of a run, and so he deserves to be saluted for it. But I want to do everything the opposite of him.
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
The direct opposite.
I think you have.
No, not everything. I can be strident, obnoxious, gas bag, know-it-all.
Demand wants more money.
I guess you can.
And I do think I can manage a baseball team, but I think a lot of people could manage a baseball team.
I agree.
I think a lot of people listening to this could be managing a baseball
team.
But
what was great about that moment is the caller was clearly joking, and Mike took it seriously. I mean, just clearly joking. Mm-hmm. And he took it serious. I love him. I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss you, Mike. I really am.
He loves you. That respect is real. The respect is real.
Did Allison find anything weirder than salchichas in Billy's desk?
The brown paper bag. I thought it was for when he needed some air. A toothbrush and toothpaste inside. Sock puppet. Oh my God. Sock puppet.
Yeah.
That's Judd Apatow's sock puppet.
He has a bag of screws.
Yeah.
Look at this bag. It looks like it's 150 years old.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And he also texted me, we're feuding and I'm dead to him.
Oh, because you're going through his stuff?
Yeah, he's very mad.
Intimacy issues.
I'm upset.
Plenty of holiday parties going on out there. Make sure you look great by putting on a shirt from Untuck It.
And she didn't even mention the Freddy Krueger glove that she just picked up and put under the desk.
Such an odd kid.
There was just a Freddy Krueger glove?
A broken one.
He is a broken Freddy Krueger glove that Allison just hurled knife-like. Is that a finger? It's one of Freddy Krueger's knife fingers. Freddy Krueger's knife fingers was just hurled by Allison in a fury at LeVar Ball at Mike Ryan.
A yellow crayon, randomly.
All right.
What a weird show today, man.
He's weird. It has been a weird show. But let me tell you why it's been a weird show. May I real quick?
Medication?
Well, that too. But listen to this. Listen to what it says here. The questions are on highly questionable. Does Antonio Brown need 2,000 receiving yards to win MVP?
Yes.
Who needs the win more, the Patriots or the Steelers?
Patriots.
You sure about that?
I am.
How should Bronco fans feel about their win last night?
That's a bad win.
Was LeBron's post-game chat with Lonzo a bit suspicious?
Not at all.
Pump the brake.
Yep, I already told you about that one. I mean, if he wants to pick up the phone and call Lonzo Ball and have the discussion, people actually think that he told them he revealed last night under his jersey, hey, I'm going to play in L.A. next week.
I just want it known for the record that those questions that I just read to you, I give you permission to not watch Highly Questionable today.
Wow.
Like, those are terrible questions. It's not anybody's fault. That's not anybody's fault.
Slow sports.
It's just sports stinks, and that's why our show has been bad today.
Yeah.
And the medication.
You can listen to the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio, and you can watch on ESPNU.